I turned this beautiful, calming, peaceful photography sim into a photographer's nightmare with AI critics. My goal? Impress these snooty robots enough with my stunning photos that they'll give me all the fake monies I could ever want, or at least 100,000. But before we get to the judgments, some introductions might be in order. I'm Brittany, and typically I look at the different tech that photographers use in their businesses. But because June is my birthday month, I wanted to do something a little different and combine two of my favorite things: photography and video games. Of course, I took too long to record and edit this, so now it's July. But you know what? The birthday spirit lives on, so let's just roll with it. I was looking for something relaxing and creative to do on my actual birthday, which is when I happened upon Lushfoil Photography Sim, a truly beautiful game that I found on Steam that had me hooked the second I watched the trailer. It's essentially an exploration game where we wander real-world landscapes and capture the beauty around us with our virtual cameras. There's various locations for us to visit, items to collect and play with, and different scenic changes that we can unlock through object collection and different photo objectives. It's a very chill game with a lot of freedom in what we take photos of, which is why I think it's perfect to introduce a little structured chaos in the form of AI art critics. Here's how it's going to work. I'll be spinning two wheels. One decides the in-game filter I have to use, and the other gives me an art style to aim for, like cinematic, abandoned, or something otherworldly. Once I've got my prompt, I'll explore and shoot. I can take as many shots as I want during that round, but I'll only submit one final image. At that point, my AI art critics will give their verdict on the photo.
I remain unimpressed.
And a fake dollar value that will hopefully be enough to get me to my goal. I've got 10 photos to try and hit $100,000, so fingers and toes are crossed we can get even a little bit of the way there. To keep things moving, I've grouped the photos into a few segments based on how the filter and style pairings ended up feeling. The first segment we have is one I've named Soft Serve. This one encompasses our surreal, minimalist, and whimsy images. All three are styles I wasn't sure how to approach, so I'm hoping that the subjectivity of art isn't lost on these Terminators. I went through Iceland first, and after hyping myself up to be brave and run through the fog, I spotted a giant iceberg that I thought would be perfect to create something surreal with. And I probably could have submitted something from the dozens of images I took, but I wasn't feeling very satisfied. So just before leaving the location, I turned around and sprinted out of the area, only to stumble upon a rock that sort of resembled a smoke cloud to me. Happy little accidents, right? I chose this image for my final submission.
This image takes me on a journey to the foggy, mystical landscapes of Iceland, wrapped in an enigmatic embrace. I find myself entranced by its surreal nature, yet yearning for a touch of warmth to invite me further in. The abstract textures whisper secrets of a distant past, creating a soft allure that hints at stories untold. However, the overall darkness casts a shadow over its potential intimacy, leaving me longing for a connection that isn't fully realized. While I appreciate its enigmatic charm, it remains more a curious dream than a memory I cherish.
Well, we are off to a fantastic start, and I'm still a touch nervous, but we'll just keep it moving to Australia. I had played through this level a bit already, and so I generally knew what I wanted to grab for this style, but then I saw the dolphins poking up over the water, which changed up my angle a bit, and then a bird flew into my shot, and that sparked a new idea for what ended up becoming my minimalist submission.
What a study in restraint. This photograph captures a sense of solitude and peace with its sweeping expanse of water, and that lone, almost ethereal seagull cutting through the sky. But I can't help wondering if this was a moment seized or simply observed. There is a subtle beauty in the calm gradient of the scene, yet this photograph treads the line of being just a whisper when it could have been a shout. The execution feels safe. Where's the risk? The rebellious streak that ignites surprise and curiosity. An image such as this demands audacity to truly soar, yet it nests merely in muted minimalism instead of stretching its wings wide to the daring unknown.
Okay, he said all that, and he still gave me $10,000. So these AI are simultaneously making me feel good and also slapping me back down to reality at different points. But they are currently keeping me on track with my goals, so that's something, right? Anyway, over to Italy now for some whimsy. I accidentally stumbled into unlocking the snow level by just being adventurous with my little boat. So I'm really excited to see what the critics think of this one because it excited me, so hopefully it excites them.
Gazing upon this photograph, I find myself tangled in the ethereal veil of mist that drapes over the treetops, as if winter itself exhales a frosty whisper. The cooler filter, though intentional, mutes the innate vibrancy, perhaps obscuring the quiet drama these giants of nature narrate. Yet there's a delightful magic in how the light cascades through the needles and branches, creating a succession of soft, shadowy waves that dance in the chill air. It's a moment tucked between breaths, where nature appears both serene and expectant, a fleeting pause in the grand cycle of life.
All right, so we are at segment 2, which I'm calling the edgy bits. This one includes the styles tranquil, abandoned, cinematic, and harsh/rugged. And I gotta admit, I feel like the AI is going really easy on me. It's almost scary how much fake money they're giving me, and I am getting the sense that this segment is the one that they're just going to absolutely tear to shreds. This was an image that I pretty much knew was going to be my tranquil shot as soon as I got scared by a cat running across the trail. Jesus, cat. Okay. And anxiously turned around to look behind me and saw this view. This game definitely has some unintentional spook appeal, given some of the camera interfaces we can find, the chittering nature, and the lack of people, which does also help in capturing tranquility.
In the solemn embrace of towering trees, this photograph invites a silent contemplation reminiscent of meditation. The monochromatic play of light and shadow draws the eye along a seemingly endless, serene path. However, the brilliant shafts of light, though ethereal, verge on competitive, battling with the inherent silence the scene promises. Yet, the spirit of Yamadera lingers softly in the ambient stillness, whispering tranquility, although imperfectly. In seeking silence, this image almost achieves tranquility, but is fractionally distracted by its own brilliance.
What does that mean? Seriously, this feels like the moments before the AI lights turn red and destruction happens. My husband created this system for me, and I told him the robots are being so nice, and he ominously said, "They get pickier." So, okay. Hopefully they don't get annoyed by back-to-back black and white filter images. The entire game is essentially the style of Abandoned, but I especially felt it when roaming through the Kyoto location. There's only cats here, which did jump scare me at one point. A running theme, I guess. I got this rainy shot after unlocking the rain level of Kyoto, which really added to the Abandoned feel.
Kyoto in the rain, bathed in monochrome, a setting ripe with potential for the structural purist. The interplay of architectural geometry with the silhouettes of trees offers a compelling narrative penned by time itself. Yet the foggy haze blurring the skyline deprives us of the clear lines that would otherwise delineate this narrative with precision. The strongest element, the line of lamps, draws the eye into the scene, offering a path of clarity against the engulfing shadows. While the piece is cloaked in an atmospheric charm, it lacks the crystalline focus that could elevate it from mere scene setting to a structural study. An admirable effort, yet it teeters on the precipice of visual ambiguity rather than achieving the structurally sound composition it could have been.
You say all that, and then you still give me $11,000. It kind of feels like they're giving me money to burn at this point. Okay, so I went into the France level and immediately felt Sound of Music vibes. I know that the Sound of Music was not filmed in France, but this hill is totally screaming Sound of Music. So I knew I had to find some way to be cinematic with this location. I'm not terribly crazy about this shot, but I also wasn't wild about the filter for this one either. Sometimes you just gotta toss a curveball and hope for the best, I guess.
One travels to France and returns with a glimpse of the mundane draped in a pallid mist. The scene you present whispers with a hint of mystery as the fog drapes over the trees, and I am reminded of a ghostly ballet caught mid-act. Yet this photograph falls short, constrained by its terrestrial bonds and daylight's overrated allure. I'm drawn to vast, empty landscapes where the cosmos takes center stage, not a sunlit distraction. It doesn't quite echo the Odyssey I crave. Instead, it feels small, contained, lacking the scale and cosmic connection that would elevate it from an earthly scene to a universal tableau.
Okay, that curveball, it didn't quite work out. Orion sort of brought me back down to earth there. He still gave me more money than I think I deserved for that one, but he's doing his part in humbling the artiste. This shot is one of my faves, and I tried hard to not repeat locations, but when I got this style on the wheel, I really wasn't sure where else to go other than Iceland.
This photograph whispers of potential with its brooding sky that promises the kind of storm you half hope for and half dread. Those clouds loom like an unspoken conflict, an impending argument between the earth and the heavens. But then it's almost ruined by the softness of the colors that romanticize it too much for my taste. The terrain feels rugged, but teeters on the brink of being too digestible, like something ready for a postcard rather than the raw frame of nature's unblinking glare. In the end, it's a scene caught between two worlds, unsure whether it wants to reveal the candid brutality of nature or merely flirt with it from afar.
So those last two images have made me fall behind a little bit on making my goal. I'm just shy of 70,000 at the moment, and since these robots are only rumored to get harder, I'm back to feeling nervous. The last segment is one I'm calling the fractured frame, and it's got our unsettling, dramatic, and second abandoned style. I'm feeling like this one might be a bit too underexposed for the AI, so it's probably not gonna like that. But anyway, this spot on the trail in Nepal actually did make me feel really unsettled, and at one point a wolf or a fox ran across my screen and cemented the fact that this spot in this location was my shot. So yeah, even if the AI isn't unsettled by it, I am.
What have we here? An attempt at conjuring unease, no doubt, with this brooding snowbound path. Yet I find myself squinting through an uninspired haze of digital manipulation. The ambitious filter seems to have swallowed the light whole, reducing an otherwise compelling scene to mere murkiness. Yes, the footprints, intriguingly, beckon us to ponder who follows and who leads, yet without the crisp, biting clarity of true photography, their story wanes. At best, it's a tale half told, struggling under the weight of artificial gloom.
Wow, okay. I'm feeling not happy about my ability to make up for that abysmal offer. Also, his voice unsettled me more than the image actually did, so boo to that masculine robotic voice. I have a lot of love for this next shot, mainly because I was about to quit out of this England level after getting a shot of these stairs that just felt very Exorcist. Again, I know they aren't these stairs from the movie, but the lights and the rain and the dark just did something for me. Anyway, it didn't do enough because I turned around and went through this tunnel and felt the drama at that point. I really need to make up my deficit here, so fingers crossed.
The photo almost whispers a dramatic, ghostly tale from the depths of a noir narrative. The backlit mist and shadowy pathway do hint at something more, possibly an invitation to step into another realm. It broods a little too quietly, veering dangerously close to the monotonous lull of introspection. However, the boldness in its stark, shadowy framing invites a certain intrigue. It's as if the photo is auditioning for the role of a mysterious villain, aching to be the main act, yet hasn't quite struck the right pose.
Sable didn't give me what I needed. I'm at $80,450, and considering the highest I got was $12,100 6 critics ago, I'm feeling like my chances are pretty low. I mean, I like the image I got from China, but I'm also not totally sure that the AI critic is going to be as in love with it. So let's just go and see what I get.
The crumbling weight of solitude trapped in the frame of a forsaken window. Here lies an attempt to capture the haunting melancholy of a space once occupied, now left to the quiet embrace of time and nature. The photograph dares to unveil the futility of permanence, yet it clings desperately to representation, choking on the very breath it seeks to exhale. There is a haunting, almost mythical solitude. This image is a valiant attempt to document absence, yet it is poignantly shackled by the impermanence of its own being.
Well, I didn't make it to my goal, but I did get close. I got $87,450 and a desire to have Sterling tell me ghost stories at Halloween. And I know it's going to sound very cliche and cheesy, but even though I didn't get to the 100,000, I still had a lot of fun, and hearing how the AI reacted to some of the photos was definitely a good lesson in not taking myself so seriously. Overall, Lushfoil Photography Sim is an incredibly atmospheric game with so much more to it than I initially thought. Anyone would feel comfy jumping into this game, especially if you're craving adventure but not wanting to hop on a plane, train, or automobile. This should definitely be on your list. Or if you're maybe feeling a little bit burnt out and just need a quiet, relaxing world to escape into for a while, this could be a perfect fit. I know I'll definitely keep coming back to this one, especially since at one point the nostalgia hit me in a way I really didn't expect, but was very much welcomed. Not like the "this reminds me of why I fell in love with photography" kind of nostalgia, because that just feels like a bit much, but more like the carefree fun that I used to have with my camera. Before I started a business, before social media, before I even had a DSLR really. Just the random moments of taking my dinky little Polaroid iZone and capturing photos of my dogs in the backyard. I don't know why the game did that for me, but I appreciated it. Thank you so much for going on this mashup video game AI cluster adventure with me. If you've played Lushfoil Photography Sim, let me know how you're liking it, and if there's any other photography-based video games you think I should check out at some point. I hope you'll consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that little bell to be alerted whenever I release a new video. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.